Hi there guys, so Canelo has secured the WBO light heavyweight championship by knocking out Sergey Kovalev in the 11th round. Now, many are saying it wasn't necessarily an all-action fight, it was very technical and Kovalev seemed happy to try and box his way to a decision. He wasn't throwing all that many power shots. You could see that Kovalev wasn't really committing to the punches that he was throwing, whereas Canelo was throwing more power shots early on and straight away. He was keen to press the action. Now, he was cutting off the ring and following Kovalev around, but he was making sure that Kovalev was the first one to throw, so that in turn Canelo could counter him, because Kovalev is the guy with the physical advantages. He's taller, rangier, and has longer arms, and a great jab. So Canelo, to get beyond that, needed to make Kovalev commit, and then he can get beyond that jab and slip and slide a few shots and land his own. And Kovalev was doing well at keeping Canelo at bay during the early rounds. But Canelo soon wore him down and it soon became difficult for Kovalev to keep Canelo away. Canelo was looking for that left hand from early in the fight, and in that 11th round it just snuck beyond the guard of Kovalev, who did not see the shot coming. That scrambled his senses and ultimately that was the finish. Even if that last punch didn't land, I believe that Kovalev was done from that stage on. It was pretty much a one-punch knockout, although there was another one that followed up. I believe that Kovalev was gone from that punch, that left hand, that Canelo had been looking for from early on in the fight. Now it became apparent that Canelo was quite comfortable at the weight, although he was getting peppered with jabs, and Kovalev, as I said, was doing a good job at keeping him on the outside during the early stage of the fight. But ultimately, Canelo's tenacity and him cutting off the ring and walking Kovalev down just got to Kovalev a bit, and it seemed like Kovalev didn't really have any answers to Canelo, because Canelo was, as I said, throwing power shots, and Kovalev wasn't. He was throwing punches to keep Canelo away. He wasn't thinking about trying to hurt Canelo. I don't believe he even thought he could hurt Canelo. I believe he wanted to box his way to a decision, but Canelo was forcing the action. As I said, he was putting Kovalev on the back foot, but what he was doing was pushing Kovalev back and then drawing him back forwards again, so that Kovalev was committing and he was on his front foot, which allowed Canelo to counter, and also that meant that Canelo could come around to the side and use his angles, which Kovalev found quite difficult. That was why he was always on the back foot. That was why Kovalev was happy to back up and box off of the back foot, because he didn't like coming forward, because he knew that Canelo would drop back and come around to the side and counter him. So that is why Kovalev was going back and he was boxing off of the back foot for majority of the fight. He has a great jab, and I believe his plan was to jab his way and box his way to a decision. Whereas Canelo went in there with one intention and one intention only, and that was to take Kovalev out. Now, some people say that it wasn't an all-action fight and it took a while to get going, and the explosive knockout didn't represent what the fight actually was. It was technical, but I believe it was a very good fight between two skilled fighters. If you watch the distance that they are fighting at, especially Canelo, fighting at that distance, considering he is the smaller guy, you would think that he needs to get on the inside and work to the body of Kovalev. But he didn't necessarily have to do that. He was boxing from that mid to long range, and Canelo being the shorter guy, that is very difficult for him to do. So that just goes to show the skill set of Canelo, because Canelo was pushing Kovalev back. He was making him go backwards, but then he wasn't throwing that many punches. He was allowing Kovalev to throw first so that he could counter him, and Kovalev had nowhere to go because he was backed up to the ropes, so he had to throw his jab in order to keep Canelo at bay. And that's when Canelo would try and bob and weave past it and land his own shots. So in my opinion, it was a very entertaining fight. If you look at the skill set that was involved with it, it was a very technical fight between two very skilled fighters. And it was an explosive finish from Canelo, who now becomes 4-weight world champion. Guys, what are your thoughts on this fight? Do you believe it was an entertaining fight? And what are your thoughts on that finish? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, click the thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.